Alrighty, problem number 6. Hyperbola is represented by the parametric equations x equals 3 plus 5 secant of t and y equals negative 2 plus 4 tangent of t. Write the equation in rectangular form. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. It is pretty straightforward from these equations. First off, remember that whichever term has the secant is going to be your positive term. So I know that my x term will be positive, and how do I write that equation? Well, that is going to be x minus 3 over 5, and I'm going to square that whole expression. You could square the numerator and denominator separately, or you can just square that whole thing. I kind of like it because it looks like a little bubble. Let's go on to the next equation now. Notice that tangent is with this one, which means it is the negative expression. So our y term is going to be y plus 2, the opposite of that constant term there, negative 2, over that b value right there. Oh, I wrote b. I meant to write 4 over 4. And again, I'm going to square this whole little bubble right there. And what is this equal to? This is equal to 1. So there is our equation in rectangular form, nice and factored. And from that, we shall easily find the equation of the asymptotes. So to do that, again, pluck this bit right there. Y plus 2 equals, well, plus or minus our slope. What's our slope? Well, look, the 4 is with the y, the 5 is with the x. Rise over run then has to be 4 over 5 times my x expression right there, x minus 3. So there you have the equation of the hyperbola and the equation of the asymptotes. So the last thing we need to do is sketch this graph. So let's go ahead and let's sketch this graph. Okay, how are we going to do that? Well, I personally like to sketch from parametric form. I think it is easier. It's pretty easy both ways, or hard both ways. It's both. Everything's hard until you're good at it. I've been doing a lot of this past month, so I've gotten pretty good at it. You are probably pretty good at it too because you have been working hard and practicing. So let's graph this now. Look at the x equation to get the value of h. Look at the y equation to get the value of k, the coordinates of my vertex, h, comma, k. So 3, comma, negative 2. So let's then go ahead and take this. Notice in the x direction we're going to be moving 5. So make sure you give yourself at least 5 on the left and on the right, which I don't honestly think I very much did. So there are my axes right there. So I'm going to plot my center at 3, comma, negative 2. So I'm going to put that right there. Then I'm going to go ahead and say, since that 5 is in front of my secant, which is with my x, I'm going to go 5 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plot a vertex, 5 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plot a second vertex, and then from that center I'm going to go up 4 with the y there. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. And I'm going to use that to draw in my box because this is a hyperbola because I'm dealing with secant and tangent, not sine and cosine. So there's that, and I can draw in my asymptotes. Just like that. Draw them in both directions. There you go. Which direction am I opening? I am opening in the x direction because x is the one that has secant. And so I can now sketch this in with my vertices on that box, going out, approaching those asymptotes as I go both directions right there. And I could go through and I could figure out where my foci are too, but I'm feeling lazy and it doesn't ask me to, so I'm not going to do it. I guess it does say show all details, but again, I'm being lazy. Fine, we'll do it. Alright, what's A? A is 5. What's B? B is 4. And what's the relationship between a, b, and c if we're talking about a hyperbola? Well, if it's a hyperbola, then a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So let's say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So notice this is not a Pythagorean triple. Don't just assume it is because you see the 4, and the 5. So 25 plus 16 is a number. It is 41, and so c squared is 41, which means c is the square root of 41, which means our foci are at the coordinate out from the center, the x of the center, 3 plus or minus root 41, comma, the y value, which is negative 2. Well, how can we figure out what the value of the square root of 41 is? Well, think about there's two squares on either side of 41 that you know. 7 squared is 49, 6 squared is 36, so it's somewhere in the middle. So we know that that value then has to be somewhere between 6 and 7 from 36 and 49. So, somewhere in the middle there, which means we're going to be like way out there, kind of, like way over here. So let's go ahead and call that done.